The madness of March. Oh, so mad. Yes, so mad. Mad, 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 mad. Yes, it's the WC, man, with World Championship breaking news. Now, this is not necessarily you know, the typical breaking news. This is about the NCAA tournament. Yes, that's about to happen. You know, probably going on right now as you guys are watching this video. And you know, I didn't want to go through the whole bracket and break down every single game because I think that would kind of be stupid. So what I'm going to give you is just a region by region breakdown and prediction of who I think is going to win each region and who I think is going to win the Final Four. All right. Now I done filled out about at least 12 brackets by now by the time I post this video. So hopefully I do well in that. But if you watch the game of college sports, you know that the game of college sports is nothing like the NBA. You know, you got your LeBrons, you got your, Dwayne Wades, you got the Kevin Durant's, you got, your Carmelos. Individual players can usually take over a game in the game of basketball, NBA basketball, and basically just win the game. You can't say the same thing about college sports. In fact, college sports kind of is built up. The success of a team is kind of built up on the success of the coach and how strong the coach is and how good his teaching is and it's adjusting. So just keep that in mind as I go through my picks for the Final Four and in each and every bracket. Now let's start this off with the South bracket. You got the number one team in the country, the Florida Gators, in the South bracket. You also have VCU, who's a team I really like. You also have Syracuse. You have Kansas. You have Stanford, who's a 10 seed. You have Ohio State, who's an 8 seed. You have UCLA, who's a 4th seed. You have all these these teams in this the South region, and all those teams I just named. Clearly, Florida is probably the best team out of all of them. But if you're looking for an upset in the South region, Shaka Smart and that VCU Virginia Commonwealth team from a couple years ago, that's the team that I would look for to make some real big noise in this region. I wouldn't be surprised if Syracuse comes through with Jim Boeheim. Like I said, with these college coaches, man, I mean, they're just as important as the players on the court. And I think that is a real understated dynamic of the game of basketball is how important the coaches are. So, you got to watch out for them. But my pick to win this bracket is the Florida Gators. They don't have too many things that's working against them. They have Billy Donovan, who's arguably one of the best coaches in America. And I don't see anybody besides VCU getting in their way. I mean, you could say Kansas could probably get in their way. You could argue about Syracuse. You can maybe say UCLA if LA can get past VCU, but I'm going with the Florida Gators out of the South region. Now let's go to the West real quick. You got Arizona. You got Gonzaga. Everybody knows about the Zags by now. You got Creighton, who's a 3rd seed. You have Oregon. You have Wisconsin, who's a pretty darn good team. You have Nebraska, who can surprise just about anybody. You got Baylor. You got San Diego State, who's a team that not most of the country actually gets to see because since San Diego's and it's on the other side of the country, is in a small, kind of a small school on the radar, but they got big players. I'm pretty sure if they done won about how many games did San Diego State win this year? Close to about 29 games. They won 29 games this year, so they're not no slackers. All right. But looking at this region right here is probably one of the hardest regions to pick because there's so many teams out of this region that I could just confidently say can come out of this region and win it. But I think it's going to come down to either Wisconsin, Baylor, San Diego State, or maybe Gonzaga. But Gonzaga, I don't think that Gonzaga is going to get past Arizona, and clearly Arizona is one of the best teams in the country. So I got them advancing to the Final Four along with Florida so far right now. So just to go through that region. Now let's go all the way to the East. Now the East is the region that I'm probably going to be closest to because I'm on the East Coast. I don't know if they're going to be having any games at the Verizon Center while the Wizards are on the West Coast during this time of the season. They're probably going to have some games at the Verizon Center. But anyway, going down the East region, you got Virginia, who's won the ACC championship recently, just this past Sunday. You got Michigan State. You got Memphis. You got North Carolina. Everybody knows about the Tar Heels, right? You got Villanova, who's not no slacker. They're actually a second seed in this in this region right here. I just said Michigan State. If I didn't say it before, I said it now. You got George Washington, who's a 9 seed, who's taking on Memphis. You got St. Joe's. You got Connecticut. The East region might be the most balanced region out of all the regions because it's not a team that you could say is completely dominant in this region. The most closest team that you could say is a dominant team is probably Virginia, but Virginia has like a couple of weaknesses, with their big men, and when it comes to their shooters, they can shoot the lights out, man. I mean, for really. I mean, when you really look at this region, and I think it will be easy for me to pick Virginia in this region, the East region, but I'm not going to do that. All right. Here's my shocker. Here's my stunner. All right. I just got done talking about coaches. All right. Tom Izzo in the Virginia, not in the Virginia, but the Michigan State Spartans. They've been here before, and I just see them just as the best team in this region over Virginia. And I might be wrong about that, but I doubt it. I mean, you can say Villanova is a team that you should look out for. Iowa State is another team you should look out for. Providence is not no slack against North Carolina in that first round game. I mean, there's a lot of upsets that could come in this region right here. This is the upset region right here, the East region. But I just see Michigan State out of all these teams. Maybe Virginia can get over that hump and beat them. But I just see whoever wins that Michigan State and Virginia game probably wins this region, and I just think that Michigan State's a better team. That's just how I feel about it. Maybe Villanova is a pick. If you're looking for a complete sleeper in this region, just look at a team like Connecticut. Look at a team like Iowa State. Look at a team like Harvard. Look for a team like that to just come from out of absolutely nowhere and just make some complete noise. Let me go into the Midwest. Finally, the Midwest. Now, the Midwest is the can I how can I say this? The Midwest is probably the most stacked region out of all of them. It has Wichita State, who was absolutely no slack. These guys are definitely one of the top teams in the region. Matter of fact, they're 34-0, and I could just see them just rolling through their first couple round games. I mean, they might be taking on Kentucky or Kansas State in their second round game, but I don't know, man. I don't think that too many teams can stop that team. If you don't turn the ball over in this tournament, you're going to beat teams. And I don't see Wichita State turning over the ball to too many teams. Let's go down the list, man. They got Michigan, Duke, Texas, Louisville, who's the defending national champions in this bracket. All right. They got Kentucky in this bracket. Kansas State in this bracket, like I just said. St. Louis, who's a 5 seed. I mean, this is UMass, I think they're about a 6 seed. I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't see too many upsets coming from out of the Midwest. I mean, this is March Madness, so anything can happen. But out of all these teams, I mean, Louisville looks like they're destined to get back to the Final Four. Duke looks like they're not going to be an easy out. Michigan was there last year. I mean, the Midwest is probably the hardest region to pick out of all of them because legitimately there's about 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 teams that if you did a bracket, you could put them in there and say, yeah, they're going to win a national championship. But my pick for the Midwest region, all right, is Louisville. I just think that the defending national champions, like I said, I'll keep harping on this the entire video. All right. When you have the head coaches, all right, notice that all the teams that I picked have the head coaches to be in the Final Four, have the head coaches that have either been there before or their team has been at the top of the AP poll, the top 25 poll the entire year. All right. And I don't even need to tell you guys about, Louisville's head coach's resume. I don't need to just go ahead and tell y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all already know what his resume is. So let me just go ahead and get to the national championship prediction. All right. Who's going to win these semifinal games? Now, like I said, I think that Louisville is probably going to be back in a national championship game. But the Florida Gators, they've been the #1 team, down the stretch of the season. They don't have too many holes. They don't have too many flaws. I just think that the Florida Gators, Billy Donovan, and the Florida Gators take down Rick Pitino and the Louisville Cardinals, the defending national champions. I think that this tournament is going to be wild. There's going to be so many different upsets, man. Let me end this video by telling you guys the games that you guys should definitely be watching for in the first round. I can give y'all that at least, because the second round and the third round and the semifinals are just, they're just too far to even, to even guess. So let me get into it. Let me just go ahead and break it down for you. All right. Any game that you see that's 10-7 seed, like New Mexico, Stanford, Oregon, BYU, any game like that, Connecticut, St. Joe's, Texas, Arizona State. Those are the games right there that you should really be looking for, because those games could go either way. You can also look at the 5-12 seeds, like the Cincinnati and Harvard game. You can look at, the St. Louis game and whoever they're playing between NC State and Xavier. You can look at that game. I mean, you got to look at the games, like, the 5-10 seeds, like I said. Just look at those games. Those games are where the upsets are probably going to be. The Oklahoma and the ND State. I think the ND State can take Oklahoma. All right, and I think that the only 5-10 seed, the 5-12 seed game that you could say is probably a lock is VCU. I don't think the VCU is going to be losing to anybody, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because it's a 5-12 seed game. All right, you can look at the other ones, like the 12, not the 12, but the 2 and 15 seeds. The 8-9 games. The 8-9 games are teams that are very, very evenly matched. Those games could go either way, But I just gave y'all a couple first round upsets. You know what I'm saying? Let me just give y'all maybe a definite first round upset. Like I said before, I think that Harvard can take Cincinnati. I definitely think that ND State can take Oklahoma. I'm just saying, like, those are games right there that you guys can look out for, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Dayton beat Ohio State. There's so many different upsets in this tournament that could happen, but that's the madness of March. Nebraska could take out Baylor. Like I said, Baylor was a threat in the West region. Hey, man, looking at Louisville could go down to Manhattan. It's like, nah, I don't think that's gonna happen. These first round games, man. I'm telling you, just looking at them, anybody could get beat. But the first and the second seeds are probably untouchable. The third, 3 seeds are probably untouchable. But the 4 seeds on down, man, anybody can come, anybody can go. It's the madness of March, man. Hope y'all liked this video. If you did, listen to the whole breakdown of the video. Drop a like, drop a comment. It's the WC with World Championship breaking news. The madness of March. Yes. Join into the conversation down below. I like to talk to my peoples. If y'all if y'all roll with one team, or your team's not in the tournament, like my team's not even in the tournament this year. Let me know who you guys think is going to win the national championship and be in the Final Four. Let me know what you guys think. It's the WC. I'm going for right now.